Hey there, good morning and happy finally Friday. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett here on News 6 Plus and clickorlando.com. I'm your host, Bridgett Ellison. I hope that you are keeping it cool and dry as we're heading into the weekend, Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the dads and the father figures out there headed into this weekend. And we want to get a check of your weather because we've been really waterlogged this week. Meteorologist Candace Campos is standing by. And, Candace, I also have a live interview coming up this morning with a vet to talk about how we can help the pets get through the summer heat as well. So, we've got a lot of rain, we've got a lot of heat, and, we're here. This is summer. Almost.
I mean, and it's true because, you think, okay, dogs are dogs and people are people, but you forget how hot the pavement is, or, don't forget their panting isn't just something cute that they do. You know what I mean? So it's all these little things you have to kind of remember, especially if, you're a new pet owner.
Yes.
But listen, it is certainly going to be not as soggy as it has been as we head into your weekend. But I'm cautiously saying the word drier, not dry, but drier, as we are going to continue to see rain chances still in the forecast. It's not going to be as widespread as it has been throughout the past couple of days. But when you start bringing the sunshine back and maybe dialing back the rain chances a little bit, those temperatures are going to go up. So I know Vet's going to have very good information for us that we'll be using already this weekend. So let's take it to the maps, Bridgett, show you what's going on. Here's your weather story. It's going to be a dry start for the next few hours. If you have outdoor plans that you need to get done, this is the time to do it. We will see a few inland storms later on today. It's not going to be extremely widespread, but still have to mention it as we head into your weekend, though. That drying trend really starts to kick into full gear as we head into Sunday and early next week. And we are watching two areas of tropical development. One of them is our big week-long rainmaker that has been over central Florida for a bit. That trailing cold front or stationary front that's really going to start fizzling out throughout the next couple of hours will be kind of our main focal point for a few more scattered showers. So we're still staying unsettled, at least for the next afternoon. Clouds and rain forecast still showing, again, mix of sun and clouds by the afternoon. A couple of those showers kind of bubbling up just west of 95 and then slowly pushing towards the west. It looks like we will start to see more of a collision of those sea breezes, but really going to be focused more in Polk County, Lake and Sumter County this afternoon, with the bulk of the rain just pushing out to the west coast, those Gulf Coast counties. So again, rain chances aren't extremely high, as it looks like that east coast sea breeze really could push a lot of it out towards the west. By Saturday, kind of the same story. Maybe inland areas like along the I-4 corridor could have some more rain. So again, not extremely widespread, but we can't completely rule out any chance of those storms in the afternoon. But luckily, all that tropical moisture is on its way out as we head into the weekend. The one area that's brought us all the rain has still a 20% chance of tropical development in the next few afternoons. And then the one in southwest Florida, I should say southwest Gulf of Mexico, that one has about a 40% chance of development in the next 7 days, but looks still to track more towards the west side of the Gulf of Mexico. So no real big tropical concern for us here in Central Florida. But we will still deal with some scattered storms today. As we take you here hour by hour, 5 p.m. rain chance still about 50 to 60%. And then again, trending down those rain chances as we head into your Father's Day weekend. By Sunday, your rain chances will be about a 30%. And as you get results here with your full 7-day forecast, again, Father's Day looking better than what we were dealing with earlier this week, and then keeping rain chances near to below the average at about 30 to 40% and high staying near 90. So again, we are dialing back those rain chances. We're not completely shutting off the faucet just yet, but we are expecting to improve our weather forecast. So I know everyone's grass has somehow grown 3 times as tall as it was last weekend. But if you have to get some of those errands done, like mowing the lawn, kind of getting back into the swing of things, rain chances will be helping that.
And we always have that pinpoint weather app that comes in so much handy. I was joking yesterday because I had the kids out at an activity with the bounce houses, and I was checking that radar, which does come in handy because, just that chance is still out there. So you can look and see, where is it?
And you become very popular when all of a sudden, you got all of a sudden this little interactive radar in your hand. Well, it looks like we're gonna be good for another 10, 15 minutes or, things
Yep.
like that. So it's really helpful. I mean, even during the winter when you're starting to talk about like temperatures and planning that out. So it's
Hmm.
great year round. But yeah, that interactive radar is chef's kiss.
Yes, it is. You do have to turn your location on though, so you can get the
Hmm.
best accurate
That's
location
true.
of the storm or what have you and where you are.
Exactly.
So,
Or the
all right.
lightning, and if you need to pull the kids out of the pool and things like that, it'll tell you
Yes.
when the lightning starts getting close.
Right. Because you want to get in as much fun as possible. So,
You do, and you want
mhm.
their energy out as much as possible.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I hope that they have a wonderful Father's Day,
Thank you.
with your hubby over the weekend. So,
Yeah, we've got some plans in the works that he doesn't know about, but he likes asking questions lately, so let's see if the kids
oh,
can keep their mouths shut.
yes, just a little bit longer.
I doubt it, but he's gonna find out before, but it's fine. I'll let you know how it goes on
Good
Monday.
luck. All right. All right. Sounds good, Candace. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. So, like I mentioned, we will get to that interview with the veterinarian coming up shortly. We also have a preview of Black Men Sundays podcast coming up as well. We talk about financial wellness and, planning for the future. We'll get to that too a little bit later. But right now, an interesting story. We're still waiting to get some more answers, though. But this happened at Orlando International Airport yesterday. A Tampa man is now in custody facing some serious charges after that big scare at the airport. They say that Ryan Welch smashed through a fence near Terminal C, went onto the runway Wednesday morning, and a worker at the airport jumped into action and tackled him before cops got there after he jumped out of his car. He was arrested and booked. He's facing charges of trespassing, burglary, criminal mischief. They still don't know why Welch did this, so we are still waiting for more answers on that one. In South Florida, the just really dramatic images are still coming in and people are very tense there. Things have gone from bad to worse. We saw so much devastation yesterday from the flooding and so many people, really inconvenienced, a lot of damage. So some spots now have seen more than 25 inches of rain in just the past couple of days, and there is still more on the way. As Castro explains how some people had to be rescued by boat.
Days of nonstop rain leaving parts of South Florida underwater.
We are anticipating some of the flooding will not have much time to recede before the rain starts again.
In Miami-Dade County, cars were seen submerged and entire neighborhoods are flooded.
I think it's crazy. I mean, look at my pants. Look at me. I'm wet. Every time I walk in the street, the water's right here.
In Hallandale Beach, a woman drove right into a canal, mistaking it for a road.
It was pretty much just really strong. I mean, I can't even imagine that. That's got to be a very scary ordeal.
And in Hollywood, Eric Aragon said he and his family had to evacuate from their home through a window.
It's only going to get worse, and honestly, I don't want anything to happen to myself or my family, so yeah, we were gonna leave.
You just really feel for them, and I hope everyone can get through the weekend safely there in South Florida. So our thoughts are with them and hope they stay safe. We also have a story here locally back in Seminole County when it comes to flooding issues. A stormwater pipe that is critical for a community in Seminole County has really been compromised, and it turns out that a neighbor in the area could be responsible because of closing up this pipe. So News 6's Treasure Roberts talked to some neighbors out there and explains how this has really been detrimental to the neighborhood.
Why is there a pile of sand and sandbags here?
Because Seminole County Public Works brought them to us at our request.
Robin Rodriguez is an HOA board member in this Longwood community. She says this standing water on Shadow Bay Boulevard and adjacent roads isn't normal. Back in March, Rodriguez and other neighbors received this letter from a homeowner accusing the HOA of installing a drain pipe on her property without her permission. She also asked for compensation. The homeowner wrote, "I advise you of this because once I close that pipe off, you will have a drain problem that will back up on the road and on your property and potentially on my property."
What was your initial reaction?
Confusion.
Fast forward to April, that homeowner hired a crew to fill the stormwater pipe on her property with concrete. The community now worries without that functional pipe, they'll see widespread flooding after a hard rainfall.
What could you imagine your roads in your community would look like after a hurricane?
Impassable.
Rodriguez says back in the 1980s, a developer separated the houses on one side of the street from the HOA. They then created an easement to run a drainage pipe through these two homes that flow out into a retention pond. She says the HOA is not responsible for this.
In addition, as the treasurer, I can tell you that there is nothing in our records from that time or any other time that says that we ever paid a crazy amount of money to put a 110-foot pipe in the ground. Okay. And there would be financial records for that.
The homeowner emphasized that the HOA does not have an easement on her property and they don't own the pipes.
It's her property, she can do what she wants with it, but you have caused catastrophic flooding for your neighbors.
So we'll continue to keep you posted on what happens with that situation, but it is definitely tense there in that community. We want to get to, we do also want to mention to you that the homeowner in that situation who filled off the pipe, she did speak off camera, and she says that water draining from the roads onto her property was causing a sinkhole to form at her property. But she couldn't provide written confirmation that officials said a sinkhole was indeed forming. So again, we will keep you updated of that situation there, tense situation between the neighbors. So pets, overheating during the summer, we know that when it comes to our pet babies, we do have to consider how the heat is impacting them. We always talk about ourselves and about the children and, you know, how we can stay safe, but we also have to keep them in mind. So with us this morning is Dr. Danielle Bernal, a veterinarian with Wellness Pet Company. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this is really great to talk about and keep in mind during the summer months. And so we talked about overheating and we talked about how the heat affects the animals differently. What is some of your advice you give to new pet parents per se, if they are just now having a pet for the first time? What do you like to tell them when they're living in these hot climates like we have here in Florida?
Yeah, the most important one is to really use, it comes down to common sense. You know, exercising and keeping our dogs' routines are really important, but try to make sure that you're doing that early in the morning or late in the evening. Avoid those really hot parts. You know, when you are out exercising, try and find things that are also great for the dog. So if you're out on a hot road, make sure you've got booties on them. Or if you're going down to the lake or the beach, they're also great options. The other one I'd say is prepare your home. You know, try and make sure that there's plenty of shade. There's lots of water bowls all around your house, especially if they're outside and where it can be easily knocked over. And then, of course, if they are able to come inside, that's fantastic. Get them into the air conditioning, as I said, especially in those hot parts. And then most importantly, we all know this one, but just to remind everyone one more time, never leave your dog in a locked car in any way, shape or form. You know, it takes just 7 minutes on a hot summer day for them to go into extreme heat stress in those situations.
What are some of those misconceptions out there in terms of trying to cool pets off? Because I've heard different arguments about things like putting ice cubes in water for pets.
Yeah, I mean, the whole intent of what you're trying to do is to let their body temperature not get too hot. Now, that's going to be by minimizing overexertion. That's really important for puppies and senior dogs, but also those who might be out of condition. But then the second thing you want to do is keep up that hydration. We all know on a hot day, drinking more water helps us feel better. So water is a great one. Ice cubes is great because it just brings that temperature down a little bit. You know, one fun thing I like to do is actually make popsicles where you can even, you know, put some of those out for your pets, and the pets love them. The other good tip I say is also encourage your dog or cat even to eat more wet food. That's also a great way of getting that hydration into them.
Awesome. And so I had some friends, they had rather large dogs and they kept them, you know, out. They were outside dogs for the most part. What do you give in terms of advice for people who mostly keep their pets outdoors?
Yeah, so prepare for the summer months first and foremost. If you've got a dog who loves being outdoors but has really long hair, you might want to get a summer clip to help minimize that heat. The other one is make sure if they've got somewhere they can access shade, you know, whether it's a great tree or somewhere under the veranda, they're good options. Watch out is things like kennels. They often can incubate the heat because they don't really allow for ventilation. And then even if your dog just loves sitting in the sun and there's not much you can do, just try and even pop a fan out there or something where they can wade into a water pool. Anything where they can keep their temperature down is a great option.
And do you need to be prepared to let them indoors more, or if they're not typically indoors, do you need to, I don't know, open up a garage or maybe build a tent or some sort of canopy outside for them?
Yeah, anywhere that can get them shade. Obviously, coming into the air conditioning is a great win. But if you don't have air conditioning, that's okay. Just letting them have access to that shade, letting them have, more of that water, they'll be good enough reasons in itself. And as I said, just avoid that hot overexertion. It's when you take that hot sunshine and then take them for a run or do something that's abnormal, that's when it really increases the risk.
And what about when it comes to appointments and checkups and things like that? When do you know you probably need to bring them in, or what are some things that maybe you should be getting done this time of year? You mentioned the summer cut, but you talked about booties and things like that. So when do we need to check in with the vet in terms of staying safe during the summer?
Yeah, always check with your vet, especially for that once a year checkup. Coming into the summer, you want to make sure that, if you've got a dog who's even a little bit nervous, now's the time and go and see them, because we've got 4th of July parties coming up. We've got friends coming over. So it's not just the heat sometimes. Sometimes with summer, we may also get extra stress and anxiety for our pets. So if you think that might be your dog, go and see them now. And then, of course, if you ever think your dog is, not just suffering from it being a hot day, that they may be, in fact, experiencing some heat exertion, then always ring your vet straight away, and they'll help guide you on how to bring that dog's temperature down, or most importantly, get them into the clinic straight away.
And so that exertion, what are some of the main signs that are not just them just catching their breath? Because it's a difference. There's certain warning signs to look out for.
Absolutely. Dogs and cats are a little bit different to us. They don't sweat, so they'll pant, they'll respirate, they'll put their body on cold temperatures, like the floor. That's how they'll bring their temperature down. But when they go past that and start experiencing the consequences of having an internal body temperature that's just too hot, that's when you'll see really laboured breathing, extreme high heart rates, maybe dizziness, glazy eyes. They'll maybe lose some coordination, excess drooling, or even vomiting. Those signs are extreme signs. And as I said, that's that moment where you need to be placing cold, damp towels on them. Ring your vet straight away and really probably get that animal straight into the clinic so that they can work to make sure that there's no damage done and we get that pet back to healthy as fast as we can.
And you mentioned the differences sometimes between cats and dogs. Do they have different base temperatures between each other and compared to humans?
No, they're generally pretty similar. So they keep their own body temperature nice and controlled. The one difference we have with cats is they're a little bit more unique. Sometimes, you can put as many water bowls out there as you'd like, but they like running water bowls or a water fountain or the shower. So when it comes to keeping your cat cool, I encourage pet parents to find a room, even if it's just a single room, they can pop air conditioning in and really focus on increasing water. And that can come in the form of wet food for cats because they all tend to love their wet food. But that's a really good tip, that 1 3-ounce can, for example, of wet food for a cat is roughly 1/3 of their daily water intake. So if you throw in a couple extra wet food every day, that's going to go a long way to keeping them safe.
And I like the popsicle idea, but I wanted to get the recipe from you because I know there's a lot of things that they can't have. So what do you like to do when you make those?
There's 2 ways you can do it. I always love, get a cute little mold. These are great ones because, hey, they're pup themed and that makes it a cute, fun experience for you both. Another great one is you can use things that are in your pantry. So you can use bananas, frozen berries, some yogurt, add in some water and blend that up for a nice healthy one. Drizzle some peanut butter on it, or even pop some of their favorite snacks on top, kind of as that extra meaty frozen reward. The other one is if you're like, whew, that's not going to fit into my day, then don't worry. There's also options you can do where you can even grab some commercial food, for example, that's like a broth, pour that into the mold and then freeze it. And then that way you've got something that's going to be super delicious, extra meaty, but also nice cold little treat that will help bring their temperatures down.
That's really cute. And, we talked about some of those differences. It even varies among breeds, right? Some dogs are more susceptible to getting to that exhaustion rate faster or more sensitive, right?
Absolutely. Breeds like your English bulldogs, for example, that have general respiratory issues at the best of time and may not be the most physical fit athletes we have. Those are the breeds, those ones that are exceptionally old or young. They're the ones you want to really pay crucial attention to. And then most importantly, if you've got visitors coming home and your dog normally just goes for a walk around the block and your young college student says, I'm going to take them for a run, that's a watch out too, because that's something that's abnormal that they wouldn't normally do.
Right, right. And, we have all the get-togethers and the cookouts and everything, not necessarily heat related, but what do you give in terms of advice with trying to handle the pets? And, they'll loiter around seeing if they can get someone to give them some table food.
Those puppy dog eyes go a long way in getting tidbits off the table. That is for sure. My recommendations here is to try and minimize that. We all love to give a little bit extra, but pick things that are going to be healthy. So whether it's some lean meat, some chopped up vegetables, they're great options. Things you want to avoid is anything like grapes, raisins, onions, anything on a skewer. Grill time is when we definitely see a spike of animals coming into the clinic with those foreign bodies in them. You also want to avoid anything that's really high fat, because that can really upset our pets' digestive systems and potentially push them into cases of pancreatitis. So really, if they're going to do it, if you've got that one uncle who always loves to feed the dog under the table, give him a set bowl of food that's suitable, already pre-chopped up. And that's going to be a nice way of keeping your pet safe and him happy as well.
The kids too, they're sneaky. They'll get to them. Well, Dr. Bernal, thank you so much for all you do, and all the veterinarians. We really appreciate you all, because we need you. And where can we get more information for, all these types of tips and wellness?
Yeah, so lots of tips and even great nutritional options can be found at wellnesspetfood.com. There's lots of blog articles there on nutritional needs and more video content from me.
All right, wonderful. Great to have you. Hope to talk to you again soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, we have a preview with our photojournalist, Corey Murray. It's Friday, and we love Fridays because we get to see Corey. We get to talk about his podcast, Black Men Sundays, that he works on and is into 100+ episodes podcast. And today, Corey, good morning. Happy Friday. You have some great advice for us when it comes to real estate today.
Definitely. When we talk about real estate, it's one thing to, get a real estate agent, you find a house, you're approved. But what about when you're going through the underwriting process? So I spoke with Jennifer McNeil. She's a senior mortgage broker and a senior underwriting manager. So she manages the underwriters. So I had to come out the gates, because I remember when I was going through underwriting, it was tough, and it was a good 3 months. So I asked her, what are the things that you shouldn't do that can compromise you closing? Let's roll that soundbite.
The heads up is to not purchase anything that will require credit initially. And then you also are going to be required, if you have closing costs, they're going to ask for a verification of deposit from your bank to learn if you have enough funds, of which is called cash to close. So if you have a wedding or quinceañera, whatever culture your background you come from, that you want to spend money on, so long as it doesn't require you to obtain credit in order to receive those funds, then generally you're not going to have to worry about the debt to income ratio being compromised. And then as far as your funds or cash to close, so long as you do not go beyond the limit of what the required cash to close dollar amount is, you would be fine. So I would just stay within those parameters of not obtaining new credit and not getting your cash to close, your liquid funds, below the amount that's required for you to close.
Definitely. So that means, no furniture shopping. Don't open a new American Express card. Just relax, enjoy the underwriting process, and then you'll close. And then I had to ask, because I hear a lot of people say, when it's time for me to close, I need money in my account. So I've heard people say, you know what, I'll give you $30,000, I'll give you $25,000, just sit it in your account, and then after you close, give me my money back. So I had to verify that. So check this, roll this soundbite.
Well, here, I'll tell you what is allowable versus what's smart or not. What is approved with federal guidelines, Fannie or Freddie, as far as the investors, is that you can be gifted funds from a family member to apply towards your closing, but they do have to sign what is called a gift letter, Corey. And a part of that gift letter also says that these funds are not to be returned to the person who granted these funds. So that is huge. I'm so very glad that you raised that question so that we can just, tell it like it is, as far as that's concerned. So if you really are going to gift a family member money towards their closing, do know that your account number will be requested, their account number, and you will be requested to sign an affidavit that says that you do not expect 1 cent of those funds to be returned.
There you have it. Black Men Sundays.
Did you cover anything in terms of doing those investment properties too? Because that can be a little bit different versus your residential space.
Yes, definitely. We also talked about commercial properties as well, and she gave us great tips on that. She's also an author of The Growth Zone and a CEO and founder of Maven Leadership Solutions, where we discuss faith, finances, and fitness. So this is like a well-rounded show. But because when I saw her resume, I said, senior underwriting manager. I had to get those out. I had to get those off first. So.
What does she have to say about the climate and the market right now?
Well, just like every other guest that we have, when they talk about the climate right now, they always say, this is a good time to buy, but it depends on, are you an empty nester? Are you gonna be in the property for a period of time? So that's where that conversation went. But like I said, to check it out, check us out this Sunday,
Yes.
Black Men Sundays. We cover a variety of real estate topics, like I said, from residential to commercial. And she laid it all out, and we enjoyed this show.
It sounds like some really good information. Once again, thank you, Corey. Happy
That's
Friday.
right. Happy Friday.
See you soon. All righty, so we're going to get out of here, but make sure you check out Universal. They've got their new DreamWorks land opening up today and a new area that's been built over the former Woody Woodpecker's Kid Zone. So make sure you check that out. But Shrek is back, Kung Fu Panda is there, and a Trolls Troller Coaster. Check it out. We'll be back on Monday. Happy Father's Day weekend to everyone. Take care.